Hey guys, so for this next example, we have 3x squared over x squared minus 4 minus x minus 1 over x plus 2. The first thing that we need to do for this problem is recognize that we're trying to make these become 1. So we have two separate expressions, we're trying to subtract them. So the first thing we need to do is determine what our least common denominator is going to be. So the very first thing should be to actually factor this x squared minus 4. So this is kind of like the difference of two squares. If you were to square root both of these terms, you would get x plus 2 and x minus 2. Once you factor that, cross it out. So now as we're looking at the denominators and trying to determine the least common denominator, the first word that you need to think of is common. What do they both have? And in this case, they both have an x plus 2. So with that, we're then going to look to see, well, what would be left? If we remove the x plus 2's, what's left? And that's the x minus 2. Our next step is going to be making sure that both of our terms have the least common denominator in the denominator. So this first term, that 3x squared, already matches. So I'm just going to do 3x squared. And because our goal is to get all of these to match, I'm going to go ahead and just do a giant line and put x plus 2, x minus 2. And then for the next one, we're going to look at this, and we have x plus 2 on bottom. The thing that's missing from the least common denominator is an x minus 2. So we're going to be multiplying this by x minus 2. Now whenever you do this, you can't just distribute and call it good. You're going to have to use either the box or the FOIL method. So I'm going to box this one out. I'll FOIL later in the review if it pops up. So we've got x minus 1, x minus 2. So we're going to go ahead and solve that. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. Then we have negative 2x and then positive 2. If you look in the problem before I write it down on this line, do y'all see how that's a minus sign? We're going to leave that minus there. And then I'm going to go ahead and write x squared, and then I'm going to go ahead and combine those. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. We have plus 2. Okay? So now all we're going to do is we're going to leave the denominator alone, and we're going to distribute the negative. So first we have that 3x squared. Distribute the negative, that becomes negative x squared plus 3x minus 2. And then, of course, in the bottom, we still have x plus 2, x minus 2. And combine like terms. We're going to combine the 3x squared and the negative x squared to get 2x squared plus 3x minus 2. And of course, all of this is over x plus 2, x minus 2. Now, you may be looking at your test and you're like, oh, hey, this is one of the answer choices. It's got to be C. However, this is College of the Mainland, and they like to make everything a lot more difficult than it needs to be. So you're going to double check that that is indeed the answer, and you're actually going to do a t-chart and factor out this top just to see if that's really what we're looking at. So my A value is 2, C is negative 2, so that's going to be a negative 4. B value is 3. So we're looking for two numbers multiplied together to get negative 4 and add to get 3. So maybe like 1 and 4, the 3 is positive, so the bigger number needs to be positive. So those are going to be my numbers. Unfortunately, because our A value is not 1, that means we get to take this equation, the 2x squared plus 3x minus 2. We get to take this apart to get 2x squared, and I'm going to do plus 4x, because why not? Minus 1x minus 2. And from here, we're either going to factor by grouping or do the reverse box. And I remember from this unit that a lot of people preferred the reverse box. So if you have, if you're multiplying, then you do the outside, but if you're doing the reverse box, you do the inside. So it's the opposite of this one over here, simply because we have the inside numbers. And that last one, we had the outside numbers. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out what these are going to be. So 2x squared and negative x, those both have an x in common. 4 and negative 2 both have a 2, so that'll be x plus 2. 2x squared and 4x both have a 2x, and these both have a negative 1. So that means this top number is going to be x plus 2 times 2x minus 1. So then we're going to play a game called Is There Anything That's the Same on Top and Bottom? Woo! And there is. There is an x plus 2 here and an x plus 2 here. Meaning that whenever we solve it through, you end up with 2x minus 1 in the numerator and x minus 2 in the denominator, meaning that your answer is actually A.